Good morning. Today's video, you're going to see this 4910 Heston that has been sitting in the shop getting torched apart start to go back together. Look at the stains on my hands. You know, I wash these hands a lot. They're just stained with dirt and grease. Anyway, yeah, it's going to go back together. It's going to work better than ever, and we're going to test it when we're done. So this is the beginning stages of reassembly. It is a mess, by the way. Okay, so we do this in a manner that everybody can see what we're doing, maybe, possibly, just bear with me. Alright, so this is Skagco parts. Yes, Agco parts. This is the Heston 4910 baler. As you know, many years ago, Heston was bought by Agco, which the Agco name stands for the Alice Gleaner Company, or Alice Gleaner Corporation, which was, I believe, started sometime in the 80s, in the late 80s maybe mid to late 80s. Yes. So, this is like onion paper, really. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put this thing together so that when that piece of junk, Cody's favorite bale, he's going to go buy one just like this one. Yep, he loves it. He loves it so much he's going to buy one.
Did I buy one to blow one up?
Yeah, did you hear that? He might buy one to blow one up. So, not for anything, not for nothing. Heston does make a good baler. This one here was so severely neglected, it's not even ridiculously funny, or remotely funny, I should say. So, yeah. So this is how you do this if you don't know. It should snap right in place. You don't even have to use that chisel. But we're going to. Right here. If you don't know, these things can be a real pain in the ass to get in. And that is your spacer, kind of spacer. This is what the races will go up against. Alright. So, take this guy here out. I am not using lubrication any more than what was on there from the factory, because they will get greased when we put them in. That. That. First one's in, seated, good. I'm sure there's going to be 25 people telling me I'm doing this wrong, and I'm okay with that. A little bit of blood from the barking. Bark! And we'll do this. Can you believe that? A couple wax. There it is. Both of them set. Two bearings in there. So, what you'll do is, what I do, or what I have done, is take this guy here. This is the seal. There's a seal on there. Make sure there's grease in there. Alright, that goes like that, so that bearing is where it belongs. You take this guy here, which is the stop for that. That will stop that. Take the next one, do this. I'm doing this so that I can do this, right? So everything kind of holds together. So when I put it back together up in there, or when one of us does, whether it's me or Cody or Tim, it will be all put together. We can take those out and put some grease in there, or we can just force grease through the way I normally do with a grease zerk. And there it goes. Run it a little bit and go again. I'm going to go get another one in case you missed that. Alright, so this one I bought last year. and didn't get it in the baler. Because the way the rails were last year, it's pretty simple. The rails, which this says warning, matched bearing assembly. So in other words, this could be a real pain in the ass. Let's put those out of my way for now. And just use this. I want to. First things first, get it open. Now, these balers are very similar to the brand new ones you get from Heston, Massey Ferguson. Pretty much the same baler. You buy a brand new Massey Ferguson baler, you're going to see a lot of the same stuff in that you do in this old 4910. And I believe this 4910 was made in 2003. There it is. Got the Rona, I think. There it is. Put that one in. Pretty easy. There. That's the Rona. People yell at me for joking about it, but yeah, they ain't got a sense of humor. Yep. Make sure you put it in the right direction. I did that a couple of times in my life. Just a couple times in my life. Put them in backwards. Cuss and swear about it. Get on with the day. Okay. Now, again, pop that sucker off of there. Oop, wrong one. This. Damn it. Good as new, right? It's only a seal. That should have stuck in there. One more to do. Why they put them in an odd. A lot of things going on around here right now. Mr. Tim, you got that thing just about right? I hope you've got it so it will slide up and down in a line. Good. I did this, put these on here, set the pulleys so that they're in the right spot. Everything seems to be working okay. What's that noise? Oh. Okay, so that's done. He's getting ready to do that axle. I don't know where Joe Dirt is. Yeah, so welded that on. Got the shaft on. That shaft is now too short because it is a foot longer, 16 inches longer, or whatever, foot longer, half a foot longer, a foot longer, and my power takeoff shaft was cut to fit the other one, so I have to go buy a new power takeoff shaft, which is no big deal. It's just a 1-incher. I'm going to see if I can find a tube though. May be able to buy the tube for that and add to it, or I may even have one up top there, but it won't reach to the tractor. You know, shit I should have thought about, right? Shouldn't be too hard. But anyways, other than the paint job, we're pretty near ready to go. Got a flat tire. Got a Newton Crouch sent me the wrong spindle for that, so we're going to marry the old one to the new one and make that work. There's those parts. So everything's going quite well, right, Tim? Hey, don't put that thing all together before you put the shaft, all the giblets on that shaft. At least that's that for that. We still have to deal with this. So right there I think they made that shit out of moon dust or something. Between that and that box, there's $3,500 worth of horse shit there, which I was not happy about having to pay at all. I was not at all happy about paying for that, but I had to pay for it. So if you've got one of these balers and it starts to look like, or starts to hammer or whatever, just do yourselves a huge ass favor and stop. Just stop what you're doing. Do nothing more. Stop. And figure out what the problem is before you end up with $3,600 worth of giblets that are on the floor. So what did happen, I think I explained it last year, but I can go over it again. The bolts that hold the rails, see how twisted up that is? I mean, that thing is bent. The bolts here broke one of those bolts, and it just broke one of those bolts, and then it decided that it would hammer the ever-loving shit out of it and totally stove in the rails that are on the side. This is a great view because you can see how much Cody's got chopped out of this thing. It is just chopped to pieces. He did mark where it's supposed to go on there and on both ends, and what we're going to do, or what I'm in the process of doing, is putting new rollers on there. We have it supported by chain, the plunger supported by chains in there, and in the bale chamber I have felling wedges for dropping trees. He's got felling wedges underneath there to support it on the knife, so we don't have that issue, even though there's a new knife in there. Yeah, so that will all get done. All that. So the new rails. The old rails consisted of this material. It was C-channel. He's chopped it to the point where you can't see that it was C-channel, but it was C-channel. And I don't like that. I like what the Krone was made out of. Krone was made out of this stuff. Tubular steel. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in there and go through this. We're going to drill holes, and we're going to sink tubing in through there so that the bolt can go through and bottom out on that rail. Maybe. For sure, I definitely will. So that'll be twice as strong, right? Yeah, Timothy destroyed my grinder today. He's fired.
Not destroy it.
Yeah, you did. Well, who broke it?
Cody did.
You did. Hey Cody, you didn't cut too much of this steel, did you?
Huh?
You did. You do have the proper length for this, right?
Yeah.
All right. I was going to say you started cutting on another one.
Yeah, well, that's why I started cutting on another one.
All right. You got that one the right length?
No.
Oh, it's still long enough.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, good. Because these things have to be a certain length, upper and lower, and it will look like Joe Dirt. What'd you do? Take a shit and get some on you? What?
It's gonna rain.
Huh?
It's gonna rain or snow.
Well, probably both because it's cold. So that's what's going to go in here, and when he's done, it will look more like a Krone set of rails than it does a Heston. Now, Krone, I have Krone rails here. These Krone rails, there's, what is there, 4 of these? Those are all that goes on a Krone. 4 of those, uppers and lowers. 2 up, 2 down. But Krone's stroke is not as long as Heston, or Massey Ferguson as you call it. The stroke on the plunger is nowhere near as long. It's actually, I think those are 59, and the stroke of these are like 72 inches. It's ridiculously long. So that's why the Krone bales faster, because the stroke is nowhere near as long. But yeah, this bales at what, 22 strokes a minute? The Heston or the Krone bales at 45 strokes a minute, wide open. But this baler will be back in service for the summer. That's right, for the summer. Eric Allen says, hey, you were just on my YouTube suggestion page. Haven't seen you there in a long time. Congrats. Yes. That's crooked. Anyway, yeah, thanks. I'm hoping that is a continuing trend. If not, well, we just roll with the punches here at OLF. Okay, so I'm going to answer this question for everybody that asked what engine is in my pickup truck that I just purchased. It is a 7.3 liter gas. I'm going to tell you why I buy gas instead of diesel. Reason one, and the only real reason, is you will have to drive at least 120,000 miles just to save the money that you put into that diesel engine in fuel. And at 120,000 miles, things start to go awry on any engine, whether it be a diesel or a gas. A diesel engine costs more to maintain. They are harder on tires. There are so many different things that a diesel engine does to a pickup truck that, in my honest opinion, is not worth that extra money. I have put 180,000 miles on my F-150 in 10 years. And if I put 180,000 miles on this one in 10 years, I have done leaps and bounds savings over what that diesel engine will do. Thank you. Okay, so Yvonne Johnson, please say happy birthday to my granddaughter. She turned in, and name is Beverly Rose. Thank you. I don't know what turned in means, but maybe she turned 10. I don't know. Maybe your fingers were a little fat for your little computer. I don't know. But whatever age she has turned, Beverly Rose, happy birthday. Bill Krumenauer. Bill Krumenauer. Here we go. This is a subject that I really, I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm not condemning your state's politics in the comment, however. I do have a neighbor that is an alcoholic, and he did run out of booze and had a stroke last Thursday and has been in the hospital since in an induced coma, so there is some truth to your governor's action. Life choices and natural selection. That is what's going on right now. I know there's a lot of people that will probably disagree. If you've lost a loved one to coronavirus, you're going to think I'm the biggest asshole in the world. Or if you have a friend or a family member that is an alcoholic. The alcoholism is a choice. It is not a disease. I don't care what anybody says. You make the choice to drink that bottle of whatever when you are at whatever age it is, and then it becomes an addiction. Your choice becomes an addiction, which leads to bad things. Bill Krumenauer, I am sorry that your friend is in a coma, neighbor, whatever, but it was his choice to walk down that path and take those steps to become an alcoholic, which they're now calling a disease so that you can get insurance money for, that everybody else has to pay for. And then for the coronavirus, I know someone that has died from the coronavirus. I don't know him personally, but his brother I know, and I'm really sorry about this. But in my honest opinion, China needs to pay for this. China made it. China released it. China is now like, oh, we don't care. The rest of the world can suffer from our sneeze. China needs to be held accountable for this, and I'm hoping that our president does something like that. So natural selection, it's unfortunate that it had to come down to this. I don't know. I don't know what else to do. It's just like influenza and other things that come down the pike. N1H1 was still more deadly in 2009, and nobody was calling for the impeachment or the disassembly of the president then. And, and this isn't even something that anybody had any control of, but yet there are people that are blaming our president for something that came from another country. Wow. Just the stupidity there is amazing. Okay, so we're going to get to what Teresa did for a living or her profession in Japan. Now, a lot of you said masseuse. She actually is a trained masseuse, but that was not what she did in Japan. She did that in her father's business in the Philippines. So she has skills other than what she did in Japan. Mad Farmer Dave was wondering, what's the difference between getting PPP money and subsidies payments from the farm service agents? Both are the same thing, just different agencies. Well, no, they're not the same thing. The PPP is actually a loan. It is a 0% interest loan, and if you follow the guidelines, they are going to audit me to see if I kept on all of my employees or whatever, and then it can become a grant. So right now I applied for a loan and the money's gone, so I will not be getting that. And as for buying the truck, my silver truck was 10 years old. It had 180,000 miles on it. The transmission was bad. The exhaust manifolds were bad. The cam phasers were bad. The timing chain was stretched. It had seen better days. I had it fixed. It rusted out. It was a mess. I still need to operate my business now. That's why I bought a new truck. No different than anybody else going to the welfare office and then going down to the dealership and buying a new car, because they do that all the time, every day. Now, I will probably have to pay back that PPP money, or payment protection plan money, anyway. And I am not at all eligible for the 0% interest loan that will get my business through this hump. Right now, so far, as of the beginning of this coronavirus, I am down $60,000+ worth of revenue, because they have shut down the processing, or not the processing. They've shut down growing as many mushrooms as what they did. My bills still roll in just like everything else. So I hope I answered your question. Charlie Thauberger, I agree about the various colors of milk as a farmer, dairy farmer. Yuck. Bingo. Two Strokes and Hondas. Hey, Wes, in 5 years, will your farm be a century farm? Technically, yes. It will be a century farm here. In 1925 was when my great-grandparents moved here. But my great-grandfather and his family were farmers in Hungary, or the Czech lands, Hungary. Czech lands, Austria-Hungarian Empire, whatever the hell it was. And he moved here when he was 17 years old. Brian Ginder, a tour guide in Japan? ? No, my wife was not a tour guide in Japan. She actually saw more of Japan when we were there than when she lived there. Noel Tech, I like this one. Enemy voiceovers. Ha ha ha. You go, girl. Meow. That's funny. Look who came to join me. Okay, Fran Ferrario. Don't agree with Wes. Diesels are the best. Only in America can this happen. Diesel engines are expensive to purchase. So this is how this works, and I'm going to do it quickly. A diesel engine in a Ford truck, Chevy truck, Dodge truck, they all cost about the same to put into that truck. They have packages that you have to purchase. My wife just brought me my breakfast sandwich, which is awesome. And anyway, yeah. And William, he's got a smile on his face. They cost about the same, between $15,000 and $18,000, with all the packages that you have to purchase with that diesel engine. Heavier rear ends, higher gear ratios, lower gear ratios, different transmissions, different interior packages, the whole 9 yards. So when you have $17,000 already invested in a truck, or you buy the gasoline engine, and now you have $17,000 in your hand to buy a shit ton of gasoline. And that's about, 5,600 gallons of gasoline at current prices. 5,600 gallons of gasoline. Diesel fuel here in the United States is about 30 cents a gallon more. So with the added $17,000 and the 30 cents a gallon more, it's going to take you somewhere around $120,000 just to break even on that truck. I think I've said this already, just to break even on that engine and the packages that are in there. How many people run their trucks over 120,000 miles? Next to near none. Everybody gets around that 100,000 mile mark and they get itchy for a new vehicle because things start to go wrong. Some people change trucks when they change their tires, and they never recover any of that money. So that's why I think diesel engines and pickup trucks are a waste of time. The gasoline engine that I just purchased in that truck is 435 horsepower with 485 foot-pounds of torque, which is more horsepower than the 6.0 diesel that everybody loved so much. And it will definitely get down the road pretty damn good. For less. Much less. As for what my wife did in Japan, there was one person that guessed it about as spot on as possible. My guess, Miss T used to either be a singer or entertainer hostess in Japan. Not the red light kind. My adopted sister was a singer for a band there, and she is really good, as many Filipinos are. Filipina. Keep up the comments. Interactions, too. I'm sure most of the viewers enjoy the short stories that come with them. So yes, that is exactly what my wife did in Japan. She was a singer, entertainer, hostess in Japan. She has a very nice voice. You'll probably never hear it. But when she sings a song that's on the radio, she is the biggest butcher there ever was. Butcher! She is a butcher! I mean, one of the greatest Don McLean songs ever written, which was, what was that? American Pie, I believe it was called. Bye, bye. She was singing that the other day, and I was like, if I had hair on my head, I would set it on fire and put it out in the toilet with a brown turd in it. That's how bad she butchered it. But if she knows the song, it is just pure beauty.